Today I'm breaking down the latest political flashpoints in the Middle East as of July 17, 2025, focusing on the Israel-Palestine escalation, Syria's ongoing sectarian crisis, and the dramatic collapse of Netanyahu's governing coalition. This isn't just another headline roundup. This is a data-driven analysis tailored for policymakers seeking strategic insight. Let's anchor this analysis with a SWOT summary. Israel's strengths remain clear, unmatched military capabilities and rapid response systems. The United States holds significant diplomatic leverage, especially when it comes to brokering ceasefires. In Syria, despite chaos, the government can still negotiate temporary stops to the violence. But the weaknesses are glaring. Netanyahu's fragile coalition has now lost its parliamentary majority, and Israel's rising civilian death toll is eroding its moral and diplomatic standing. In Syria, sectarian fragmentation makes governance increasingly difficult. Now, opportunities. A US-brokered ceasefire isn't just plausible, it could reset the diplomatic table in the region. Palestinian statehood recognition is gaining real momentum. And in Syria, Druze factions are moving towards calls for autonomy or federalism. Threats, however, loom large. The risk of a regional war involving Iran, Hezbollah, and Israel is real. Israeli strikes inside Syria could spiral into broader conflict at any moment. And with peace talks hanging by a thread, political instability could derail any chance of progress. Let's look at the most analysis next. The overriding mission? Stabilize the region through ceasefire, humanitarian relief, and political reform. The objectives are ambitious: end hostilities in Gaza and Syria, prevent Netanyahu's government from collapsing entirely, and restore trust among fractured sectarian groups. Strategy here means using US pressure and international diplomacy. It also means engaging minority and civil society leaders, and reframing the conversation with humanitarian narratives that can shift public opinion. Tactics range from deploying envoys to enforce ceasefire terms, to incentivizing coalition partners, think Shah's and United Torah Judaism, to rejoin Israel's government, and experimenting with clan-based governance models in Palestinian territories. On to the pestle analysis: political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal dimensions. Netanyahu's minority status now risks legislative paralysis. Meanwhile, America's push for Palestinian statehood is already reshaping regional alliances. Economically, war disrupts trade, aid, and reconstruction budgets. Socially, sectarian violence in Syria is deepening mistrust, and civilian casualties are fueling global outrage. Technology, like UAVs and precision strikes, raises new ethical dilemmas, while social media amplifies divisive sectarian narratives. In Gaza, bombing of water infrastructure is turning a humanitarian crisis into a catastrophe. Legal challenges, from war crime allegations to Israel's Supreme Court ruling on draft exemptions, add fuel to an already blazing political fire. The sharp analysis shows Israel's military actions might fit short-term security goals, but they're undermining long-term diplomacy. I'm closely watching for snap elections in Israel and a possible renewed UN push for a two-state solution. The US and EU are growing more aligned on Palestinian statehood, while Arab states are unified behind a ceasefire and recognition efforts. Now, through the spear lens. The situation is volatile. Violence in Gaza and Syria is escalating. Netanyahu's coalition has collapsed, and international pressure is mounting. The core problems are civilian deaths, political instability, and stalled peace negotiations, each of which threatens regional security. The effects? A humanitarian crisis in Gaza, deepening Druze distrust toward Syria's government, and Netanyahu's weakened leadership in Israel. Actions to consider: strictly enforce ceasefire terms, rebuild Israel's coalition, or prepare for elections and address sectarian grievances through more inclusive governance. If these steps succeed, there's a real chance for stabilization. But if a political vacuum persists, escalation is almost certain. Still, with enough diplomatic pressure, there's an opportunity here for a breakthrough that could reshape the region's political landscape. That's your strategic snapshot of the Middle East as of July 2025. Stay informed, stay strategic.